Dukkadaha. They are like Shita and the Ushna, like the appearance of the winter and disappearance of winter, appearance of summer, disappearance of summer, this way. So in the same way, like how summer, winter, they come, they go. So they appear, they disappear. The same way, such happiness, distress, they will appear, they will go also. They will appear, they will disappear. But one has to tolerate them without being disturbed. One who tolerates the situation and is peaceful in all the circumstances, that person is actually Dhira Purusha. And he is fit for liberation. So, who is fit for liberation? The 15th verse of second chapter speaks about Yam hina vithayante te purusham purusha shabha samas dukha sukham dhiram somrutatvaya kalpate sama yam hina vithayante te purusham purusharshava samadukha sukham dhiram somrutatvaya kalpate. Amrutatvaya. Amrutatvaya means he is fit for liberation. For liberation. Amrutatva. Amrutatva means for liberation. Who is fit for liberation? Kalpate. Who is fit for liberation? Who tolerates both sukha and dukha. If he learns to tolerate both sukha and dukha, then because even sukha is also a disturbing situation, it's also a disturbing situation. Dukha is also a disturbing situation. But in both the situations, he practices tolerance. Then he is fit for liberation. By practicing tolerance of suffering for the sake of performance of prescribed duties, a person gains happiness. Dhira, who is a dhira? A person who makes his intelligence active in these matters of dharma. So what is our dharma? Our dharma is to always serve Krishna. So-called happiness may also disturb us. The experiences of sense objects, like favorable, unfavorable. What happens sometimes is a favorable situation, sometimes unfavorable situations. Then it does not allow a person to be fixed in dharma. The dharma of the soul is to serve Krishna. Jivera Sarupo Hoy Krishner Nityadas. That is why a person performing the duties of dharma, he should not be moved in any cost, either in happiness or in distress. Even if he attains some happiness or he is having some dukkha, he should neither be disgusted because of the difficulties, and nor he should be very jubilant because of getting some eventual happiness. Because sometimes the things happen suddenly, and some praising words are there, or maybe some sudden happiness has come to in your life. So you should not feel very jubilant also at the same time. You should not be very distressed also. You should not be disgusted also because of the unhappiness. In both the situations, if a person knows to maintain himself and is unmoved, then he is fit for liberation. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, anyone who is steady in his determination for the advanced stage of spiritual realization and can equally tolerate the onslaughts of distress, happiness is certainly eligible for liberation. In the Varnashrama institution, the fourth stage of life, namely the renounced order, sannyas, is a painstaking situation. But one who is serious about making his life perfect surely adopts a sannyas order of life in spite of all difficulties. The difficulties usually arise from having to sever family relationships, to give up the connection of wife and children. But if anyone is able to tolerate such difficulties, surely his path to spiritual realization is complete. Similarly, in Arjuna's discharge of duties as a Kshatriya, he is advised to persevere, even if it is difficult to fight with his family members or similarly beloved persons. Lord Chaitanya took sannyas at the age of 24, and his dependents, young wife as well as old mother, had no one else to look after them. Yet he Yet for a higher cause, he took sannyas and was steady in the discharge of higher duties. This is the way of achieving liberation from material bondage. So now, how are these situations in the material life? The description of the material life has been given in the 16th verse. Was to tolerate the situations in this material life. Sometimes there is happiness, sometimes there is favorable, sometimes unfavorable situations. So, what is the nature of this material world? The change is the nature of the material world. There is no permanent existence for any situations. That can be body, there is no permanent existence. That can be body related things, the body related environment, the situations, they go on changing. So there is no permanent existence. At the same time, there is no change for the soul. The soul is always eternal. One who sees things, one who know the truth, they can see this nature of body as well as the soul, or the matter as well as soul. So 16th verse, very important verse. Change is the nature of the material world. So anything which is changing, understand that belongs to nature. The things which are standardized, they are not of this nature. They are of the company. Like company, generally I give this example. The ghee made artificially, that has a standard color and a standard smell, and it is standardized. That means there is no change. Even if you keep it as, it will be same. Like when we were small, I still remember the sugar is to crystal and it is stick in the dabba. And the last when you have to remove it, my mother is to put some water and keep, so that the sugar which is to be stuck in the dabba, that could be removed very easily. But nowadays, when the sugar, if you see, they are so fine crystals, even if you put in dabba, keep it open or keep it close, it does not melt, it is as it is. That itself shows that the chemicals are added to such an extent, even that sugar has forgotten that nature of melting. So when the things changes its forms, then understand it is nature. It is a matter of this world. When it is not changing, that means it is artificially made, or it is artificially put chemicals and all those things. नासतो विद्यते भावो न भावो विद्यते सतः भयोरपि दृष्टोऽन्तः तनयोस्तत्त्वदर्शिभिः नासतो विद्यते भावो न भावो विद्यते सतः उभयोरपि दृष्टोऽन्तः तनयोस्तत्त्वदर्शिभिः न असत् विद्यते भाव न असत्. Those who are seers of the truth have concluded that the non-existent, that is the material body, there is no endurance. Na asataha. Na bhava. Asat here refers to, asat refers to the matter. How is the matter? It is na bhava. So that na goes to bhava. It is na bhava. That means there is no permanent existence. Bhava here refers to endurance or permanent existence. Na bhavaha asataha. Na bhava means no permanent existence for abhavaha. Abhava here refers asataha. Na bhavaha for asataha. What is asataha? Asataha here refers to the matter. The matter is not permanent. Then na abhavah vidyate satah. Na bhavo vidyate satah. You have to split that. Na bhavo here refers to na abhavo. When there are two negatives, it becomes one positive. Na abhavah That means bhava. Bhava means permanent existence. For what? Satah. So the soul is always permanent, not changing. Na abhava, not changing. So the soul is always eternal. So this has been concluded. Antaha, drushtontaha, drishta antaha. It has been observed. Antaha here refers to concluded by the seers of the truth. So in this way, the Lord has criticized Arjuna's stance of being learned because of his inappropriate lamentation. Now, worship of the Lord is alone the means of destroying lamentation. And this arises from recognizing the difference between worshipper and the object of worship. The Lord has taught the real, not illusory dualism of the jivas or amshas. The worshippers from himself, the amshi, the object worthy of worship. So here Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan has very nicely commented on this. He says, there is a difference. There is a difference between worshipper and object of worship. That is, there is a difference between Jiva and the Lord. The person who has knowledge about the Swarupa of conscious Atma, the Jiva, is qualified with the knowledge of Swarupa of the conscious Amshi. Because of such statements, first knowledge of the Jiva is taught uniformly to the devotees. With this and the following verses, the Lord thus begins the teaching of Atma by giving an understanding between the body and Atma. So very important to know is, how is our body? The body is an object which is subject to change. And that is body. And how is the changes? It is born, it grows, then it stays for some time, produces offspring, begins to dwindle, and then vanishes. So such is the nature of this body. But what is not changing? That is the soul. So body has a nature of changing, and the soul has a nature of not changing. So asat means temporary and sat means permanent. So asat here refers to the body and sat refers to the soul. So what is destructible and unconscious? That is a body. And what is indestructible with consciousness? That is the soul. So one has to understand the difference between the dull matter, which is also known as asat, dull matter. And because of the presence of the consciousness, it seems to move, it seems to be alive. Or actually it is a dull matter. So in this way, when the purport Srila Prabhupada says, there is no permanent existence for the changing body. Because if you really want to know the quality of the soul, first you should know the place where the soul has occupied. The place which soul has occupied, that is his body. One has to know that there is always a change. Every moment there is a change for this body. And even the medical science has approved this. So the cells goes on changing. It's action, reactions. Because of that, there's a change in the body. But the soul always exists. It is permanent. The nature of the soul is, it is always permanent. That means our relationship with Lord is also permanent. Body is just an instrument to be utilized for the service of Krishna. If a person understands if a person forgets his constitutional position that he is servant of Krishna, when he forgets that, then he utilizes the body for his sense gratification. So that is how, bewildered by the influence of ignorance, he forgets his eternal relationship with Krishna. So what is the meaning of ignorance? Forgetfulness of Krishna is actually ignorance. That is a cause of ignorance. The moment a person forgets Krishna, he forgets his relationship with Krishna. That is how he is in Ajnana, ignorance. And that is how there is always a wrong consciousness. That is aham mama iti ajnanam. I and mine, I and mine. And because of that, he forgets his eternal relationship or eternal constitutional position. So once that ignorance is removed, he can re-establish his relationship with Krishna. So that eternity also has difference. What is the difference? There is a person who is worshipped and there is a person who is worshipper. So that eternity also has a difference. The individuality of the soul always exists. That is how in the 12th verse, Natvevaham jatunasam natvam nime janadipa nachevana bhavishyamah sarve vayamatah param. So Krishna in the 12th verse says that I, you, all these kings were existing, are existing, will be existing. So our existence will always be there. That means that individuality will always be present. So the difference between part and parcel is also there. The difference between the Amshi and the Amshaha is always there. Amshi is Krishna, Amshaha is the part and parcel. So in this way, there is always a difference. At the same time, there is eternal relationship. So one can understand the nature of the Supreme by thorough study of oneself. The difference between oneself and the Supreme being understood as the relationship between part and whole. In the Vedanta Sutras as well as in Srimad Bhagavatam, the Supreme has been accepted as the origin of all emanations. Such emanations are experienced by the superior and inferior natural sequences. The living entities belong to the superior nature. Living entities are actually Parashakti of Krishna. Although there is no difference between the energetic and energy, the energetic is accepted as the supreme and the energy or nature is accepted as the subordinate. The living entities, therefore, are always subordinate to the Supreme Lord, like in the case of master and servant, teacher and taught. Such clear knowledge is impossible to understand under the spell of ignorance. So in the spell of ignorance, what happens? One considers himself to be everything. If he achieves some wonderful mystic things, he starts considering himself also as God. That is the difference, that he forgets his eternal relationship. The moment a person forgets his eternal relationship with Krishna, he misidentifies himself. And to drive away such ignorance, Krishna has given Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita is for the enlightenment of all living entities for all time. So 17th verse. The 17th verse also very clearly the difference between the body and the soul has been given. Avinashi tu tadvidhi yena sarvamidam tatam vinasham avyayasyasya na kashchit kartum arhati. Avinashi tu tadvidhi. So Avinashi, the soul is imperishable. Like in the previous verse, what has been told, Sat is always permanent. It is not destroyed. Na abhavaha. It is always permanent. It is not changing. The same way, the soul is imperishable. It cannot be destroyed. Yena sarvamidam tatam. It is pervading all through the body. Vinasham avyayasyasya. So in the previous verse, what has been given? Na bhava. Asat is na bhava. That means it is not permanent. Asat is always changing. And in this here also it has been given that this body is always perishable, vinasham. Vinasham abdeyasyasya na kaschit kartum arhasi. So one can never understand Vinasham. The body is perishable, but one cannot destroy the imperishable soul. Vinasham. Okay. One cannot destroy the imperishable soul. Body is perishable, but the soul is imperishable. So, what is the nature of the soul? Here, more elaborately, it has been given that it is yena sarvam idam tatam. It is avinashi. At the same time, it is pervading all over the body. So, what is the nature of the soul? It is spread all over the body. So, anyone can understand what is spread all over the body. That is consciousness. So, jiva is eternal, and the whole body is pervaded by this soul. That is why body is pervaded by the consciousness of the soul. So what is pervading in the body? Generally people say it is Atma. Actually it is the consciousness of that Atma. Chetana. That is the consciousness of the soul. Its capacity to know the object beyond itself, including the body. So what is pervading all over the body is the consciousness which is spread around. Everyone is conscious of the pain and pleasure of the body in part as a whole. The spreading of consciousness is limited within one's own body. And what is the meaning of consciousness? The feel of pain and pleasure. So what is spread all over the body is the consciousness of the body, of the soul. So consciousness which is spread all over the body. It is conscious. So that is the nature of the soul. The nature, that is why there is a difference between a dead body and a living body. Living body is nothing but, the dead body is nothing but living body minus consciousness. If a person is not able to understand the pain, the pleasure, then it's as good as a dead body. Just sometimes you say, is it just lying like a dead body? Like sometimes the paralytic people, they are not able to understand pain, pleasure, nothing. Even though some small consciousness may be there, it is as good as a dead body. So the spreading of consciousness is limited within one's own body. The pain and pleasure of one's own body is, one can understand one's own body's pain, pleasure. One cannot understand somebody else's body's pain and pleasure. Therefore, each and every body is the embodiment of an individual soul. And the symptom of the soul's presence is perceived as individual consciousness. The soul is described. What is the size of the soul? Or how is the soul described? 1/10,000 part of the tip of the hair. Now, Balagraha Shatabhagasya, Balagraha Shatabhagasya. Take the tip of the hair, cut it into 100 parts, and then Shatada Kalpitasya cha. And then again, take 1/100th part of the hair and cut it into 100 parts. That means 1/10,000 part of the tip of the hair is the size of the soul. Na chanantyaya kalpate. Bhago jiva savigyeya na chanantaya kalpate. It is very, very difficult to understand also. Keshagra shatabhagasya satamsha sadrishatmakaha jivha sukshmaha sarupoyam sankhyayati hi chitkanaha. So very difficult to understand this subject because the soul is inconceivable. It is very difficult to understand. Like who has really cut and seen? Take the tip of the hair, not even the size of length of the hair. Cut that and then again cut it into 100 parts, and again cut that 100 part into another 100 part, 1/10,000 part of the tip of the hair. That means nobody has actually done it. But to make us understand that how sukshma, how subtle is the soul, very difficult to understand this subject. But how to understand there is soul in the body? Just because one can understand the feel of pain and pleasure. This is one of the proof of existence of the soul. the consciousness which is present in the body is the proof of the existence of the soul in this body. The moment there is no consciousness of pain and pleasure, we should understand that there is no soul. That means that this body is actually a dead body. So this is one of the proof of existence of the soul. Avinashi tutad vidhi yena sarvam idam tatam. The soul is present. That is why there is consciousness of pain and pleasure throughout the body. So what is present all over the body is the consciousness of the soul. Like you have the wire, you have the plug point. So how to understand that there is an electricity in this plug point? Just by fitting that wire, you can either heat an instrument or cool an instrument. It can be used for cooling. At the same time, it can be used for it can be used for charging your wire. That means you can understand that there is a current which is flowing in this plug point. In the same way, if there is consciousness which is present, how to understand that? There is a feel of pain. If something horrible happens, and immediately you feel that pain, you get hurt, you feel that pain. And there is also pleasure. Sometimes some joking words are there, and then you start laughing. That means you are able to understand the pain. At the same time, you are able to understand the pleasure. That means there is consciousness of the soul which is present all through the body. So the individual particle of spirit soul is a spiritual atom smaller than material atom. It is so small, you cannot even compare it or measure it with our material instruments. It is even smaller than the smallest. Yesho anuratma teshasa vedriyo. The soul is atomic in size and can be only perceived by perfect intelligence. Yasmin pranaha panchadaha samvishesha. It is said is floating in the 5 kinds of air. Prana, pana, vayana, samana, udana. It is situated within the heart. And it is spreading the influence all over the body. Even in the science it has been told that the energy flows from the heart. Heart is the seat of all the energy. Here also it has been said that it spreads its influence all over the body. And this atomic soul is situated within the heart. But when the heart transplantation happens, does the soul go from one body to another body? So when you say it is situated within the heart, it refers to within the spiritual region of the heart. Soul is always eternal. You cannot like there is a bottle. You cannot just fix some soul inside the bottle. In the same way, heart is actually gross. How can soul be blocked inside the heart, which is gross? That is why the soul is eternal, always in the eternal region or in the spiritual region of the heart from where it emanates the consciousness. And that consciousness flows through the region of the heart. So where is the soul? You should always reply it is in the spiritual region of the heart. You say, what is the spiritual region of the heart? Heart is gross, present in the gross material world. Then where is this material world now? And where is the spiritual world? You have a small game, like you have one, I've seen the roads also. They'll just do food and all the bubbles, the soap bubbles come and they float. It's like a pipe. And just somebody has to do foo and then all the bubbles float. Where are these bubbles? They are present in that room itself. In the same way, these Brahmandas emanate from the body of Krishna. So where are these Brahmandas? They are also present in the in the body of Krishna, and when they are emanated outside, that Brahmandas are also floating in the spiritual world only. Everything is there in the spiritual world. Spiritual world is not far. The only the problem is we are not able to see the higher dimensions. There are dimensions. Generally, for 3 dimensions, the movie had come, Chota Chetan. We had to put the spectacles and see 3 dimensions. Also, we cannot go beyond 2 dimensions. Our eyes does not allow the vision beyond 2 dimensions. To see 3 dimensions, we need some extra things, extra instrument. But there are in all 64, more than 64 dimensions. Sometimes we have heard that the plane has crossed the mountain and then suddenly hit something. And this pilot was not able to see, but he says, I have hit something. Generally, it happened in the Bermuda Triangle. He was hitting something. Even in the higher regions of Badri also, there are places where nothing can be seen. But when the plane crosses, it's able to hit something. That means there are things which are there beyond certain dimensions which we are not able to see. So the spiritual world is beyond these 2 dimensions. It is beyond even 64 dimensions. So where is spiritual world? Generally people look up. It's not far. Though it seems to be far, it is very near. But we are not having that spiritual eyes to see. Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadevardeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundaram Chintya Praswarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. The spiritual world is not far, but I am not able to see. Why? Because my eyes are not allowing me to see more than 2 dimensions. So soul is always present in the spiritual world. From there it emanates consciousness which is pervading all through the body. And how it is carried all through the body like electric current. It is carried throughout the body via blood. So wherever the blood flows, we can understand the presence of feel of pain and pleasure. Even the medical science, it has been accepted. The importance of red blood corpuscles. These corpuscles, they carry the oxygen. But the medical science cannot ascertain that the source of the energy is the soul. Okay, heart is a seat of all the energy, but from where this energy comes, that source, the medical science is not able to prove. That is why they just admit heart is the seat of all energy. So that energy or the consciousness is emanated by the soul, which is present in the spiritual region of the heart, from where it emanates consciousness. Like you have the main electricity generated in a main place, then it comes via through the plug point, via the wire, then it is carried through the instrument. So in the same way, the consciousness of the soul is pervading all through the body. Such atomic particles of the spirit soul are compared to sunshine molecules. In the sunshine, there are innumerable radiant molecules. Similarly, the fragrant parts of the Supreme Lord are atomic sparks of the rays of the Supreme Lord, called by the name Prabha or superior energy. So whether one follows Vedic knowledge or modern knowledge, one cannot deny the existence of the spirit soul in the body. And the science of the soul is explicitly described in Bhagavad Gita by the Lord himself. So in this way, in these 2 verses, that is in the 17th verse and the 18th verse, 17th verse, 16th verse and the 17th verse, the nature of the soul has been given. The nature of the soul is, it is imperishable. What dies is the body. What is never destroyed is the soul. And how is this soul? It's so sukshma. It is so subtle that one cannot see it with our naked eyes. One cannot even understand with our mundane intelligence. That is why higher intelligence are required to understand the presence of the soul. This soul is emanating the consciousness, and this consciousness is now dependent on the desire of the soul again. What type of consciousness is emanated? The soul is always there in the spiritual world. If it has not forgotten its constitutional position, that is servant of Krishna, then it emanates spiritual consciousness throughout the body. That is how utilizes the body as an instrument to serve Krishna. When the desire is to enjoy the matter for its sense gratification, then the soul, when forgets its position, constitutional position with Krishna, or has an enmity, a inimical attitude with Krishna, or competitive nature with Krishna, then utilizes this body for sense gratification. That aham, or my I and mama, this ahamkara, mamakara, that all happens because of the forgetfulness of one's position with Krishna. Then 18th verse. Antavantai me deha nityasyokta sharirinaha anashino aprameyasya tasmad yuddhasva bharata. Antavantai me deha nityasyokta sharirinaha anashino apremeyasya tasmad yuddhasva bharata. Antavantaha. Anyhow, this material body is perishable. Whether you fight, whether you don't fight, whether you want your grandfather to be not killed, but the body is anyhow destructible, whether you want, whether you don't want. So in this way, Krishna is telling to Arjuna, anyhow the body is destructible. But it is going to come to an end. Antavanta. But what is there in this body? The presence of the soul. How is the soul? It is indestructible, immeasurable, eternal. So the body is destructible and the soul is indestructible. Antavanta ime deha. The material body of the indestructible, immeasurable, and eternal living entity is sure to come to an end. Therefore, Krishna says, fight, O descendant of Bharat. So Bharata. So in this way, Krishna says that material body is perishable by nature. It may perish immediately or it may perish after some time. The bodies of the jivas, they have a destructible nature. Antavanta. It is having destructible nature. Howsoever you try to protect the body cannot have a permanent existence. No endurance. That means no permanent existence. Howsoever you try to keep it young, but still there are changes in the body. It has to become old. Sometimes actors, when they see wrinkles in their body, they become disturbed. Because people who are so body conscious, they want to maintain their body. And even if there is a small wrinkle or graying of the hairs or falling of the tooth, then immediately they become disturbed. But that is the nature of the body. It is going to be destroyed. Whereas the possessor of the body, that is Jiva, it is eternal. And in this way, the soul is the knower. At the same time, the soul is conscious also. So this Jiva cannot be known by material methods. Aprameyasya, here aprameyasya, immeasurable. So even if a person tries to measure it with the material intelligence or material methods, it cannot be measured. Jiva and his body have such natures, that is eternal and destructible respectively. So that is why Jiva nor his body has to be lamented for. Jiva anyhow is eternal. Where is the question of lamentation? Body anyhow is perishable. What is the use of crying? What is the use of having so much of attachment and so much of fear also? Body anyhow is perishable, but the soul is always imperishable. So where is the question of crying for the soul? Anyhow it is eternal. And anyhow, it cannot be seen by our gross senses. It is apramesya, cannot be even measured by any material methods. So there is no question of lamentation. And the body of the jiva is created by the Lord for jiva's enjoyment, and at the same time can be utilized for liberation also. So such an instrument Krishna has given. One, if a person wants material enjoyment, he can do it. If a person wants to have liberation also, he can utilize his body. So in this way, if a person has to perform one's own dharma of the soul is to serve Krishna, the body becomes a very perfect instrument to serve. So it is how expert a person is to utilize the things what he has been given in the service of Krishna. It's very important. So both earthly enjoyment and liberation, they are attained by dharma only. Even if a person by dharma here refers to, there are two types of dharma, arthika dharma, paramarthika dharma. Even if material enjoyment has to be done, then one has to follow the rules of arthika dharma. That is varnashrama dharma. Varnashrama has prescribed certain duties. Person has to follow that. So Krishna is telling this. Even for gaining some material benefits also, this body, which is anyhow perishable, has to be utilized. And arthika dharma means the duty of the body. So the body, if it is categorized as a Kshatriya, then Arjuna has to fight even for gaining material benefits. Then what to speak of gaining spiritual benefits? And for gaining spiritual benefits, one has to be very tolerant in both the situations, happiness as well as distress. And understanding the Paramarthika dharma. Paramarthika dharma is understanding our constitutional position that we are servant of Krishna. Whatever Krishna desires, one has to do. So here Krishna says that if I desire you to fight, then he has to fight. Krishna says fight, therefore fight. So in this place, Krishna says Yuddhasva Bharata. Now it is the second time Krishna is telling fight. If you see in the second chapter, third verse, Krishna says, get up, uttishtaha. Tyaktva uttishta parantapa, get up. But there very explicitly Krishna has not told that fight. But already Krishna has mentioned that. Oh chastise the enemy, give up this weakness and just get up. The get up means what? Get up and fight. And here Krishna very clearly he says, Yuddhasva, get up and fight. When Krishna says this, naturally one has to obey. Arjuna has to obey. That is Paramarthika dharma. Paramarthika dharma means obeying to each and every instructions of Krishna. So this body can be utilized both for earthly enjoyment, if he has to utilize this body according to the Varnashrama system, or for liberation. So hearing to each and every word of Krishna, that is known as liberation. Liberation means mukti hitva anyatha rupam swarupena vyavastitihi, to be fixed up in one's own swarupa. And swarupa is jibera swarupa hai krishnera nityadas. So real meaning of liberation is to understand our position, that we are servant of Krishna. So one has to obey to the words of the master and be peaceful in all the situations. So body can be utilized for gaining liberation. At the same time, body can be utilized for earthly enjoyment also. If a person performs all the duties according to Varnashrama, then he is naturally going to enjoy the material earthly enjoyment also. So Krishna says, fight. Both things are accomplished. Earthly enjoyment will be also accomplished. At the same time, liberation also will be attained. Because you are fighting not for your sake, but you are fighting because I want it. Krishna wants it. So body itself is unimportant. Arjuna was advised to fight and not sacrifice the cause of religion for material bodily considerations. 19th verse. Sometimes people may mistake the teachings given by Krishna. Oh, body is anyhow perishable. Soul is eternal. Soul cannot be killed. So any murderer can come, terrorist can come and just kill a person and say, anyhow, body is perishable, whether I kill, whether I don't kill, anyhow, one day your body is going to be lost. Soul anyhow is eternal. I am not killing the soul. Or it can be misused by any of the prisoner who is on the verdict of getting the punishment, hanged till death. So he may tell in the court, anyhow, I have not killed anybody. The soul is imperishable. Body anyhow is perished. So whether I kill, whether if somebody kills, but the body is anyhow going to be dead. Whether somebody does not kill also, even the natural death also happens. That is also, the body anyhow is going to be killed. So he can use violence and on these pretexts. So that is how here this verse warns us that violence should not be, it's not propagating violence. But some may think that anyhow body is, even if it is slain, the soul is not slain. So somebody should not misuse violence, or should not think that this verse is encouraging violence. Ya enam vetti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam ubhayau tau na vijanito nayam hanti na hanyate. Ya enam vetti hantaram. Na enam. Even enam here refers to the soul. Hantaram. So the soul cannot be killer. Even if somebody is killed and says, no, I am not killed. Soul cannot be killer. So one who thinks the living entity is a slayer, or he who thinks it's slain, that person is not in knowledge. Because the soul cannot be slain or killed, nor the soul does not kill nor is killed. So somebody can say, I am not killed. Any soul does not kill, or I have not killed anybody, or anybody cannot be killed. So in this way, this verse should not be misused. Yayenam vetti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam. So somebody should not think that the soul is a killer. At the same time, if somebody thinks the soul is a killer or the soul is killed, then that person is not in knowledge. Na vijanitaha, he is not in knowledge. So purport, when an embodied living entity is hurt by the fatal weapons, it is to be known that living entity within the body is not killed. The spirit soul is so small that it is impossible to kill him by any material weapon. Nor is the living entity killable because of his constitutional position. What is killed is the body, or what is supposed to be killed is the body. This, however, does not encourage killing of the body. The Vedic injunction is Ma himsayat sarva bhutani, never commit violence to anyone. Now, people kill this chicken, they cut the chicken, they slay it, and then they eat it. Then they can say, anyhow, we are not kill the soul, the body anyhow is perishable. So it is not encouraging violence, even for that chicken or hen, whatever. That body has been given, let it say, what rights we have to kill the body. That body has been given to that particular soul according to its desire. And the body of every animal, the natural death for the body of every animal is actually the spiritual growth for it, spiritual advancement. Like giving up one body, it gets a body in a higher species. So what authority we have to encourage animal slaughter? Because here it is said, it does not mean that living entity should be killed. Because living entity is not killed, it does not encourage that it is encouraging animal slaughter. Living entity is not killed, that is true. but not encourage animal slaughter. Body of anyone without authority is abominable and is punishable by the law of the state as well as the law of Lord. Arjuna, however, is being engaged in killing for the principle of religion, not whimsical. When Krishna tells to take part in the war, that is dharma yuddha. That is a dharma. What is a dharma? Paramarthika dharma. Listen to what Krishna says. That is paramarthika. This verse is not encouraging violence. Like an army officer, he is allowed to shoot on the borders if attacked by the enemies. That does not mean that he takes his gun and comes to the village where his people are staying, and if somebody does not listen to him, he just starts shooting. It's not allowed. If it is authorized by the authorities, if it is the permission is given by the authorities, then such killing is not punishable. Or if it is not authorized, then it is going to be punishable by the law of state. So this verse is not encouraging violence. Or somebody can say, I am not the killer, nor you are also killed. So somebody can take this statement and misuse this statement. And the killer also may think that I am not killing anybody. And anyhow, this body anyhow will be killed. If the killer thinks that he kills, or the killed person thinks that he has been killed, that is also wrong. Both do not know the nature of the soul. The nature of the soul is he does not kill nor get killed. But ma hinsayat sarva bhutani, do not harm any living entity. The violence, because it said violence concerning the separation of Atma from the body. Because violence means, violence is explained. What is the meaning of violence? Violence means separation of Atma from the body. So this statement does not prove that Atma is the killer, since the Atma exists even when separated from the body. So Atma is existing. So this verse is not for any violence. It's not supporting any system of violence here. Atma is anyhow eternally existing. Even when separated from the body, it is eternally existing. But people think violence means separating Atma from the body. That is also a wrong understanding. Atma is always existing, just utilizing this body for either material enjoyment or for liberation. But Atma is never killed. The statement does not prove that Atma is the killer, since the Atma which is not killed exists even when separated from the body. The statement is very important to be understood also. Generally, we think the violence is explained. What is the violence? Okay, separation of Atma from the body. But Atma is not killed, because Atma can never be killed. Because Atma is not just dependent on this body, Atma is eternally existing. Just utilizing this body for proving its desires or fulfilling its desires. So there is no destruction of the Atma simply by the separation also of the Atma from the body. Even if the Atma is separated from the body, there is no destruction for Atma. The soul is never killed by anyone. Therefore, nobody can be a killer. Where is the question of soul killed by someone? Because soul is always in the eternal world. Where is the soul? Where is the question of any material thing even touching the soul? So no one can be a killer. This argument cannot be used, however, to rationalize violence. The scriptures prohibit unnecessary violence, separating the body from the Atma. It is considered a sin. The Jiva is responsible for acting against the scripture and must bear karma. So in this way, it is not encouraging violence. In fact, if he uses the violence, then he has to incur sin. So here we'll stop. Any questions? You can ask. Any questions? You can unmute and ask. If any questions are there, you can unmute. Hare Krishna. No questions?
Muting everyone. If anybody wants to ask questions, they can ask. You can unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hello.
Prepared for
Hare
Janmashtami festival. Hare Krishna. Janmashtami is on Wednesday. Anything related to this, you can ask. But be prepared for our Janmashtami festival. So all have presented their offerings to Srila Prabhupada.
Ji Mataji.
So let me give a small description about offerings. Yesterday somebody asked me, oh Mataji, offering, should I give 1,000 rupees for offering? I said, oh Baba, offering here refers to glorification of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, Acharyas, they appear for conditioned souls like us. They come to reclaim us so that we will not be suffering in this material world. Krishna sends his representatives. So by glorifying our Acharyas, actually it is for our own purification. Like, even if you don't glorify Acharyas, their fame is not dependent on our glorification. They are already famous. They are already loved ones of Krishna. Sadhavo hridayam mayam sadhunam hridayam tuham. They are always present in the heart of Krishna, and Krishna is present in their heart. Tirthi kuruvanti tirthani. They themselves are tirthas. So they are not dependent on our offerings. But by presenting the offerings, what happens? We attain purification. Our consciousness attains purification, because when you're writing the glorification of Acharyas, when you're writing the glorification of Srila Prabhupada, naturally you are thinking, you are contemplating on the activities of Srila Prabhupada, his love for Krishna. So when we are contemplating on such purity, then naturally our consciousness becomes purified. So for our own purification, one should write the offerings. Even in the material world also, if you see, generally somebody does something good to us, we say, oh, thank you, I'm highly obliged, and all those words we speak, isn't it? Then we should also be grateful for the things given by our acharyas. That is one thing. Another thing, for our own purification, actually we are selfish. We should be. For our own purification, we should present offerings to our acharyas. So the appearance day of Srila Prabhupada, it is 124th appearance day. Now 125th year will start. 1896, Srila Prabhupada was born. 1896. It is now 124th year completed. So we should, and this is Nanda Utsav. Nanda Utsav, that is why Prabhupada's name was Nandulal. His grandmother used to call Nandulal because appeared on Nanda Utsav day. Next day is Nanda Utsav. Krishna is born, the next day is Nanda Utsav. Everywhere, Nanda Ghara, Nanda Bhayoshi, Jai Kanaiya Lal. You can hear all these songs everywhere. So even in our temple also, we are going to have Nanda Utsav. And at that time, you can come and present your offerings also to Srila Prabhupada. You have kept the temple open. If you have no fear of COVID, you can come. So you can come. There's social distancing and all will be maintained. And Janmashtami also, you are welcome. It's a small celebration, but it will be there. For Krishna, the celebrations will not be stopped. There will be distance maintained, certain things followed, everything will be there. So you can come 6 o'clock. The temple is also not open like for all the public to come. Some few devotees can come, like 5, 6 families can come, just do some abhishek and go away. It's not a big gathering. That type of opening is not there now. What to do? Big gathering every year, 500 people is to come. But that type of gathering is not there. maybe a small gathering of maybe 10 to 15 people will be there. But the celebration of giving Abhishek to Krishna, that all will be there. So even it is online darshan will be there, online Abhishek, online darshan, that also will be going on. If somebody is not able to come out, not a problem. You can be at your house and see the Abhishek from your home itself. So this temple opening is not the regular type of temple opening. 5-6 families, if they want, they can come, just perform and then go away. Not a big gathering will be there, or be at your house, and from the house itself, when the pujaris are doing the Abhishek, you can see from your home. From 6 o'clock, we have the celebration, 7:30, 8 o'clock, there will be one class, 9 o'clock will be Abhishek, 9:30 again, there will be a class till 10:30. So 2 classes of the past tense of Krishna, you can hear. So all these things will be going on next day. Again, offerings of Srila Prabhupada. You can do online from there itself. You can present your offerings and that will be heard by everybody. Whatever you have written today, you can present your offerings from your home itself. And few devotees, 5-6 devotees, if they want to come, they can present. But you have to intimate us, because it should not happen. This 5-6 become a big crowd. We don't want a crowd. And it is not allowed also, because the government has not given the permission still to open the temples. So small gathering, if that do prior intimation, we will select maybe 5 or 6 families can come. But from the houses, unlimited families can glorify Krishna. Unlimited devotees can glorify Krishna in this online Zoom. You can just give your presentation. And it's a very good news that we have crossed 150 this time offerings. Very nice. All the devotees have participated very nicely. And also now we request other devotees who have not given the offerings, just take out 15 minutes of your time. This much at least we can do for our Acharya, who has given full time of his for us. So just 15 minutes, just take and glorify Acharya. Okay, Srila Prabhupada's appearance day. So on 13th, so you can present your offerings. An e-book is going to be made. And this e-book will be having your offerings done there. E-book of Meera Road is going to be published, and we are the highest in that. Our devotees have become the highest. 150 offerings have come. Okay. Ariksha. Any doubts regarding this chapter? Atma.
Hello,
Yeah.
this is Acharya speaking.
Yeah.
Namaste Mataji. Hello.
Yeah, tell me.
You have told me just now that Atma and soul and consciousness is consciousness of the consciousness of soul. You told, is it that soul and conscious are not one and same?
It is same as well as different.
Oh. So this little bit confusion.
The sun rays from the sun.
Yeah.
Or different.
Yeah.
Understood. So
Thank you.
the
Understood.
consciousness is emanated by the soul. This consciousness can be divine consciousness. It does not forget its constitutional position. And that consciousness can be material consciousness. The moment we think that I am the owner, I should be the controller, then automatically that consciousness is contaminated. So there is contaminated consciousness that can be a pure consciousness also.
Namaste. Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hari Om.
Somebody wants to know what is dull matter.
Dull matter. Dull matter means in which there is no consciousness. Dull matter. Matter on the own has no consciousness.
And
You
there
can't
was
see a dead body. Nothing. You criticize a dead body. So the matter itself is dull. Dull means it has no consciousness. It is only the presence of the soul. That is why it seems to move. On the own, matter has no consciousness. That is why it is known as Jada Brahman, dull matter. Anything else?
one more question was asked by somebody, did not understand about animal and bird cleaning. What is this?
Hmm?
Did not understand about animal and bird cleaning.
Animal and bird breathing.
Dimple Shirodkar. Can you unmute yourself, Dimple Shirodkar Mataji?
Have animal and bird breathing.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, tell.
Hello?
Yeah, tell.
Hello, Mataji?
हाँ बोलिए.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear.
Yeah, you said something about the animals and birds killing, right? So that part I didn't understand.
Killing.
Killing.
Of killing of animals
Yeah,
cannot be just done using this statement. The soul is not killed. The soul cannot be. The soul is not the killer, nor can be killed. So anyhow, I'm not the killer. I can take a charcoal and kill somebody and say, I'm not the killer. Knowledgeable people should know soul is not the killer. And who am I? Am I the body? No, I am not the body. I am the soul. My identification, I am not the body. I am soul. That means I cannot kill anybody. I should not be punished. So this statement can be misused on the pretext of saying, I am not the killer and neither I am killing anybody. Very sukshma statement, very subtle statement. It can be misused. That is why I
so
happen.
I'm getting it.
Yeah, got it.
Thank
Next.
Mataji?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mataji, when we get the pest control in our house or maybe like in the farm, so will this be considered avoidance or?
Yeah, that is why you should keep the house clean. If you keep the house clean, even if you try to do pest control, nothing, they will not come on. Clean houses, when they do the pest control, you will not find even a cockroach killed. You should keep the house clean. How to keep the house clean? First, wash the utensils overnight. Don't keep today's utensils for tomorrow. When we keep today's utensils for tomorrow, according to Vedic also, it is not good. Early morning, if you see the yesterday's utensils, it's not auspicious also.
Yeah.
It said, आज का बर्तन कल नहीं रखना चाहिए. आज का आज घास के रख देना. And kitchen should be very clean. If you are keeping everything clean, then why they'll come to eat? They come just to get some food. If you keep clean, or if you like them to come, you can keep it as it is, whatever you want. But you should clean it. You allow all the cockroaches to come, mice to come.
Yeah.
Allow them.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay then. Huh? So be prepared for Janmashtami. Janmashtami is fasting, and also next day is also fasting up to noon. Then afterwards Nanda Utsav. After that you can, after 12 o'clock you can have. The next day fasting is for Srila Prabhupada.
Mataji, fasting will be from 10:13 afternoon. From
Till
12
in the afternoon.
till 13.
See, first day, that is Janmashtami day, you can have fasting prasad, fasting things. Somebody
Okay.
wants to have just water also, they can be. If somebody wants to have fasting prasad, they can have. Next day till 12 o'clock, again fasting prasad only. After 12 o'clock, Anna prasad can be had. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all for coming for the class today. We'll try to meet again on next Sunday. Same
Hare
time.
Krishna. Hare
Yes.
Krishna. Prabhuji.
Yes.
Prabhuji, always there is a difference between